Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. After days of suspension, order has returned to the Elwak Sports Stadium as the Ghana Armed Forces resumes the screening of prospective recruits. 1 week after a deadly stampede at the same venue claimed 6 lives and left several others injured, Joy News checks at the stadium shows a calm and highly controlled environment as hundreds of shortlisted applicants continue to undergo the verification and selection process. Military officials say about 1,600 applicants are being processed today, with personnel closely directing movement to prevent overcrowding. Speaking to Joy News, the Chief of Defence Staff, Lieutenant General William Sejapon, said the new arrangements have made the exercise far more efficient and safer.
Should get to the centers, but that has reduced the crowd level, and so things are going smoothly. I can also tell you that for the unfortunate ones who got injured, they are receiving medical treatment at 37. Some of them go in and out. Those who are still on admission are being taken care of well. I want to use this opportunity to convey to the bereaved family of the 6 young girls that on behalf of the Ghana Armed Forces, we want to commiserate with them and to say that may their souls rest in peace. But for me, what is important is the lessons that we learned from this particular exercise. This has told us that we need to do things differently moving on. And from the next possible recruitment section, we will come out with measures that makes this thing more seamless than it has been. But once again, thank you for coming. And as you can see, things are getting on smoothly. Thank you.
While the chairman of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, James Agaga, who visited the grounds with other committee members, expressed his satisfaction with the improved process and urged that the new system be maintained going forward. Let's listen to him and we'll be back with more here on The Pulse.
The Select Committee for Defence and Interior decided to pay a working visit to the CDS's outfit to, first of all, ascertain for ourselves what measures have been rolled out to prevent a repetition of the chaotic scenes we saw at the last exercise, which unfortunately resulted in some fatalities. So, as the committee with oversight responsibility, this morning we decided that we'd pay a visit and to see for ourselves. Fortunately, what we have seen is very satisfactory. I mean, it's impressive. We've seen that, yes, they have now formed quite a number of centers, teams, to simultaneously assess the eligibility of the applicants who are interested in joining the armed forces. We've also seen for ourselves that, look, the doctors are at work, the teams that are responsible for documentation are also at work, and these things are happening simultaneously. And so from here, we are going to go to some other centers and see whether what we have seen at the Elwak Stadium has been replicated over there. I am very convinced, because we've been briefed by the CDS, that that is what they have done across all the screening centers. So I'd like to use this opportunity to commend the CDS for the visionary leadership he has brought to bear, even in the face of the disaster that happened. I mean, we are so far impressed, and we're going to send back a positive feed to the Right Honourable Speaker at whose instance we are here. That said, let me seize the opportunity once again to convey our condolence to the bereaved families, those who lost their wards the last time, and of course those who suffered some injury.
Well, let's now engage the Acting Director of Public Relations at the Ghana Armed Forces, Captain Veronica Ahing, and she joins us live here on The Pulse with more. We appreciate your time. Now, we understand that there have been a few arrests today as some of the applicants presented fraudulent documents. Tell us more about it.
Joy, for the opportunity. Yes, you're right. We picked a few. As at 12 p.m., we had picked 4 fraudulent applications. And we believe that there are people in the society who are taking advantage of the vulnerable and the unsuspecting potential recruits. And so what we are going to do is that we'll be handing them over to the civil police to do their investigations and also be able to help us to unravel those behind the effort. Those criminal efforts, so that going forward, this can be nipped in the bud. I remember before the commencement of the entire process, we cautioned the general public against falling for such unscrupulous persons, but unfortunately, a few applicants have fallen for such fraudulent people. And so far in Accra this morning, we found 4. And so we'll be monitoring the process as we go forward.
Let me clarify, 4 people who submitted false documents or 4 people who were being aided by so-called middlemen?
4 people who submitted false documents. Okay, let me put it this way. 4 people who were deceived because the forms they presented did not come from the Ghana Armed Forces. So we are not sure where they got it from. So that is how I want to put it for now.
And this is worrying. Are you receiving reports of this in other parts of the country apart from Accra?
Yes, we've gotten a few from other regions, specifically Kumasi. That is one of the areas that we got some of these from. So it's very, very worrying for somebody who is now looking for an opportunity to work, and then you deceive them, collect monies, and give them fake summary sheets. It's unpardonable.
And based on your initial checks and initial investigations, are these individuals within the armed forces or are outside the armed forces?
These are potential applicants, so they are definitely
I'm referring to the individuals that aided them and gave them this fake documents you're referring to.
Well, investigations are underway. As of now, I'm not too certain as to who and who are behind it.
Okay.
So the investigations are underway, and they'll be handed over to the police. And I'm sure eventually, with time, we'll get to know those behind the whole false summary sheet.
But what's your general assessment of today's process, though?
Thank you so much. I monitored from my Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Ejapong, and the Select Committee on Defense and Interior. So far, everything has gone on seamlessly. Fortunately, I've gone to all the centers, from Elwak to Nicholson to the Ghana Military Academy Enclave, the Training and Doctrine Command, and then in Tema. And all the processes are going on as planned. Everything is going on smoothly. We have no challenges at all. And the applicants have also comported themselves. So that there are no problems to report, if I can.
And that's good news for us here. We're wondering, yes, so far, based on the individuals you have screened, do you have a fair number of the individuals you may likely recruit in the Greater Accra region?
It's still ongoing, and so I cannot say exactly how many people will be screened. But what I know is that most of the centers, as at 1 p.m., had screened more than half of the people that were at the various centers. But I'm not sure of the exact figure, so I'm unable to put that figure out as at now.
And we'll be monitoring the process, and we will also come to you for any updates. Thank you so much, Veronica. We appreciate your time here.
Thank you for your time, and thank the general public for their support so far. We are grateful.
Thank you. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Well, away from that, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has announced its readiness to put the 8 accused, including the former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, before court for the first time. The move comes 2 days after the Special Prosecutor officially charged the 8 on 78 different counts of alleged multiple procurement breaches causing financial loss to the state and using public office for profits. The office has been, providing some updates on the case on its social media handles. And coming up on your screens now are details of that. Well, that's the official write-up on the OSP's official page. It states that accused persons will be arraigned before court on Monday, 24 November 2025. The prosecution will seek the necessary court orders for service of the charge sheet on the fugitives who are outside of the jurisdiction. And we'll hear from counsel to the former finance minister shortly. But first, let's hear from private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, who says the OSP must be blamed for the delay in initiating the trial process by letting the former finance minister lose when there was clear evidence available to him during that time, specifically November 24, that Ken Ofori-Atta was leaving the country in the heat of the allegations.
The fact that he finally came to confess, right, I think on the 5th of November, that before Ofori-Atta traveled, he, Kisi Ejabin, intercepted the letter Ofori-Atta wrote to both the incoming chief of staff and the outgoing one. He said he intercepted the letter, then he ran to NIB, didn't get help, ran to National Security, didn't get help, and ran to Immigration and didn't get help. This is a big indictment on these institutions, right? Kisi Ejabin had the letter and sat on the letter. Come on, look.
But you yourself have said that's not what he did. He tried to get the state agencies to intervene to help him secure him, and they didn't. He says that didn't happen. Oh, so he didn't sit on it. So
far, I can tell you, Evans, on authority that I spoke to somebody at NIB. That person was in charge at the time. He says he has never received anything from Kisi Ejabin, meaning that now Kisi Ejabin must produce evidence. What did he take to the NIB man? Right, for now, I just want to leave out names. As now we are advocating for full investigations into this matter, we'll call the NIB man. Kisi should come and show what did you take to the NIB boss at the time? What evidence did you take to him? In any event, your own law, Section 28, says you have police powers. So what is it? What was so difficult about arresting Ofori-Atta? It says officers to exercise powers of police. So I'm reading the Office of Special...
At the time, they could have only held him for 48 hours.
But then you go to court.
Let me bring in lawyer for the former finance minister, Frank Davis. He joins us for some interaction here on the Pulse. I appreciate your time. First, has your client been served with this court date?
Your cherished listeners and viewers, no, emphatic no. Where I sit, what I know, he has not been notified. He has not been served with any foul charges.
And that's shocking. And we're just trying to find out why exactly this is the case. Because they always put this out in his official social media handles. But as his counsel, you have no knowledge of this?
My dear, am I supposed to be speaking the truth or to say otherwise? Ken Ofori-Atta has not been notified. He's not been served with any foul charges. So if the Office of the Special Prosecutor are saying something else, I can't speak for them, my dear.
So
okay.
He
has not been notified. It is strange for us to me. He has not been notified. Maybe you can please the setup that whether he or serve him with any process. He has not.
Mr. Frank Davis, you have to position rightly. We seem to be losing you intermittently so that we can hear you clearly.
Sorry. I'm saying that
okay.
Where I sit and what I do, my client, Nana Ofori-Atta, has not been notified or served for charges. So if the special prosecutor and his office are saying, maybe they will have to answer those questions. How and when they notify him. But so far as I know, he has not. As of today, when we're speaking, he's not being notified. And
I understand that this is going to be some sort of a trial. I'm sure you've been doing your digging into this. Will your client be appearing for this pre-trial?
How can he appear when he has not been notified and he has not been served any foul charges? How does he appear? Even as the lawyers, we have no knowledge. So if the special prosecutor thinks this is the style he wants to adapt, fine. Because I really don't understand all what is going on. You are telling me I have not even seen anything. And so if he thinks that this is what he wants to do, we cannot hold it on. But how can you arrange somebody and file charges against the person and you have not notified the person and you say you are going to court? I don't know. I don't know what criminal jurisprudence this OSP is using. Honestly, I'm lost, as you are. I don't know what criminal jurisprudence is applying. An accused person has absolute right. And it cannot be trampled upon because you are the office of the special prosecutor. It doesn't work that way. An accused person will almost always have his day in court. The prosecution can have their say, but you have his day in court. So why don't you do the proper thing? How do you condemn somebody without hearing the person? Oh, special prosecutor.
And you sound quite frustrated. Is this something you'll be taking up with the OSP?
Is it what?
Is it something you'll be taking up with the OSP?
I am not in a position to take up anything with him. He should know what is best for his office. And he should do what is good and right by the law. I am not going to take him on anything. If he thinks that he can just move to court without notifying the Ofori-Atta because he is out of the country, which is known to him, and he thinks he can run around, he can go and do what he wants to do. I hear he says he wants to go to court on Monday. Fine, he can. But I'm not going to take up anything with him. I'm getting a bit saturated with what's going on, honestly.
And since your client hasn't been served, will you even show up on Monday, since he's advertising that he'll be going to court on Monday?
I asked an instruction. If the accused person, the person of interest, has not been notified and is not, then I go to the I go and then what am I?
Mr. Frank Davis, I'm using you again. Can you position rightly again, just for me, so that I can hear you clearly?
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm saying I cannot vote when the one who is instructing me has not been notified. Indeed, I cannot answer to the charges. So when I go to court, what am I going to do? If the judge should ask me, can Ofori-Atta be notified? Has he been served? I'll say, then the judge, the day is why I've gone past.
So you won't show up in court at all?
My first was on a provoker.
I see. Looking at the standoff between you and the OSP, really, what this then implies is that he may be tried in absentia if you do not show up.
You see, this sign of that funding all over the place. I think that somebody is giving us the stuff. You come on the side. When you the first notify the accused person, whether the accused person is in Barbados, whether he's in Papua Guinea, whether he's in the island of Cook, you don't just get up and say you are doing in absentia. I mean, who does that? Section 200 of the Criminal Procedure Act says you should all read it. If the special prosecutor is applying different principles of law, I don't know what criminal jurisprudence is applying, but how do you arrange charges and go to court when you have not notified the accused person? I know who does. This criminal is novel, and it's only in the bottom of the OS.
Thank you so much, Frank Davis, is lawyer for Ken Ofori-Atta. We appreciate your time here on the Pulse, just giving us updates that his client has not been notified of the charges, but the OSP says is heading to court on Monday. We'll be following this story closely and give you updates. Well, we can also hear from law professor Professor P.J. Tia on the latest Interpol Red Notice saga and extradition process because he believes the OSP's official charging of Ken Ofori-Atta is a step closer to bringing him down to face justice. Listen.
At this stage, having issued the charges against Ken Ofori-Atta and others, probably the file is complete now, but again, you cannot fully tell because we don't have access to all the information available. But if that is the case, then they can that is going to do two things. One, it can help in their response to the Ken Ofori-Atta's counsel before the CCF, that's the Commission on the Control of Interpol Files, that it has a case against Ken Ofori-Atta, and this is where it is. And so, and on the other hand, if that issue is cleared on the part of the CCF, then they can then proceed to have him arrested, that is if he's still in the US, and then the matter will proceed to the court for the extradition hearing to be heard. And then if it is determined that he has to be brought to Ghana, then the processes will be initiated to facilitate his extradition to the country.
You're still watching The Pulse. Please stay with us. We'll be back after this quick turn.